So we now know that President Biden is asking Congress for billions and billions of dollars in additional funding to go to Social Security. But asking and getting are two different things. Today we're going to talk about what President Biden is asking for, his demands regarding Social Security, what he wants Congress to actually pass. We're going to touch on the 4-point plan that President Biden has. We're also going to talk about additional funding that President Biden is asking for, and it has nothing to do with Social Security, and according to reports, it actually takes a priority over Social Security funds. I will break down what that is and why President Biden is asking for it actually just this week. So we're going to talk about that as well. All I ask before we get into this video is if you enjoy these daily updates, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. So what is President Biden asking for? What does he want? Well, let me show you this. President Biden is requesting additional funding for COVID because of rising cases. Didn't he just ask for additional funding? And wasn't he denied? Yeah. President Biden has actually asked for additional funding. Let me read you a little bit of this article. It says right here, it says, I signed off this morning on a proposal we have to present to the Congress a request for additional funding for a new vaccine that is necessary that works. This came out yesterday. This came out on Friday. It also goes on to say, it will likely be recommended that everybody get it no matter whether they've gotten it before or not. So he wants additional money, and again, as to how much, we don't really know, but we do know last year President Biden asked for $9 billion. $9 billion in additional COVID funding, and he was denied. Congress said no. But why is this such a big deal? Well, it's such a big deal because, again, this, according to multiple reports, is actually the priority over Social Security funding. And I get it. This is the here and now. Social Security still has funding for another 9 years. But everybody has said, if we do not get a deal done this year, when I say this year, I'm talking not 2023, I'm talking about the next year. Because again, if Democrats don't get something done before the presidential election and they lose seats in the Senate, or they don't get the presidency, that's a big one. If Republicans then have full control over the House, the Senate, and the presidency, Democrats are not going to be in a position to negotiate. So it's very difficult right now, but that's where we're at. Now, enough of talking about additional funding for another vaccine. I know nobody wants to hear that, but what is President Biden actually asking for when it comes to Social Security? What additional funding does he need? Well, he's not actually calling for additional funding. What he's actually calling for is more taxes. The first thing, and this is part of a 4-point plan, and again, this 4-point plan that President Biden has, whether this is something that he put together or somebody else, what I can tell you is there's some pushback. Let me just explain some of these changes, then I will go and give you a little bit of a breakdown of how this would work, and then I want to talk about why this is getting pushback. First off, these are the 4-point plans. So he wants to increase the special minimum benefit, and this is, the problem is right now, people that are getting the basic amount, the bare minimum, they're getting a little bit over $1,000 a month. That doesn't even keep them in line with poverty. So he wants to actually increase that to, I believe, 100%, 125% of the federal poverty level. He wants to increase the primary insurance amount. He wants to switch from the CPI-W to CPI-E. And the fourth thing is he wants to pretty much bring back payroll taxes on income above $400,000 per year. I will explain more on that in just a second, but here's the reason why some are saying this isn't going to work because this 4-point plan has some unintended consequences. So what are they? Well, the biggest one, and this is based off a recent report that economists actually put together, is that if we go forward with President Biden's 4-point plan, this is actually going to reduce the U.S. GDP by 0.6% in 2030 and by 0.8% in 2050. So this is according to, again, a recent study by multiple economists. This is pretty much what they're projecting. Again, it's going to be very difficult to see President Biden's his 4-point plan passed, simply because this is more of a partisan bill. It's trying to increase benefits, bring in additional taxes, but they're not really cutting any additional expenses. That's where Republicans have a major issue. So let's talk about that for a second, okay? Because again, Social Security, it just celebrated it was 88th birthday, like 2 weeks ago. This is something that lawmakers want to get done. Right now, lawmakers are on recess. They'll be back within the next 2 to 3 weeks. As they do come back, we will hopefully get some answers. But how are we going to bring back, or pretty much tax people above $400,000 per year? And why are we doing this? Well, here's what I know. Right now, we pay 12.4% on income between 1 penny and $160,200. Okay, so we pay 12.4% payroll tax. All right, this is the main way we fund Social Security. Now, income above $160,200 is not taxed. There's no taxes on that. However, President Biden did say that nobody making less than $400,000 per year would pay a penny more in taxes. So in order for him to stand by that promise, he can't tax anything between $160,200 and $400,000 per year. So that $239,800, that can't be taxed. But over $400,000 per year, it can. That's what he wants. But others say no, let's just tax everything. If we're going to do it, we need to tax everything. So the next thing is he wants to switch from the CPI-W to CPI-E. The CPI-E is mainly for the elderly. This is going and based off what the elderly people buy. Unlike the CPI-W, which accounts for pretty much everything. The problem is, and the reason why I say this is a problem, is because this would be an increase. If we do more and we go from the CPI-W to CPI-E, this is actually going to bring up the cost of living adjustment for this year. But if they go and it's retroactive to bring it up from previous years as well, that could mean a decent bump to most households or most seniors. And if we see that, that means the Social Security Trust Fund would actually become insolvent a little bit sooner. So again, that's part of the problem. Because right now we have to increase revenue, not decrease revenue, or increase revenue, not increase expenses. That's why Republicans would not go for that. The next one, increase the special minimum benefit. So this goes to low income, pretty much low earning workers. If you didn't make a lot over your past 30, 35 years, whatever it is, the maximum the benefit in 2023 right now, and this is the most you can get, is like $1,030, something like that a month. It's not a lot, but this is below the federal poverty level. The federal poverty level is $1,215 per month. So what President Biden wants is to raise the special minimum benefit, to raise it to 125% of the federal poverty level. Okay, so that's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal right there. That's going to raise it a couple $100. So again, it's something, and it would help millions of people. So that's something he wants to do. But again, the problem is it would increase it would increase our expenses per month, but we're not increasing revenue yet. That's why Republicans won't go for it. The next one is to increase the primary insurance amount. So President Biden has talked about this in the past, where increasing the primary insurance amount, the PIA, by 1% annually. Now, this would actually start at age 78, and the reason for this, and it would only go for, I think, like 4 or 5 years, but the reason for this is because if we increase it by 1%, what's going to happen is as you get older, it's going to offset certain costs. For example, some costs increase as you get older, like just basic medical needs, medicine, transportation, right? It increases because not only are you getting more care, but at the same time, you're probably going into the doctor a little more often. So that increases costs as well. But that is pretty much what President Biden wants. The issue right now is we have a lack of funding, okay? A major lack of funding. And we are going to become insolvent within the next 10 years. By 2034, the Social Security Trust Fund is going to run out of money. This is the reason why everybody's talking about it. This is why some say we need to privatize Social Security. This is why some say, hey, we need to just make the government pay for it. We've been paying in all these years, make the government pay for it. Well, they don't have any money. So again, a lot of issues going on right now regarding Social Security. The good news is that lawmakers are coming back in the next couple of weeks. As they come back, the hope is we're going to have some answers. Now, does this actually happen? I don't know. But what I can tell you is we're going to find out. We will find out together. I will be here every step of the way. I will fill you in on all the latest news and updates. So make sure you do 2 things. First off, hit the like button on this video. Click that subscribe button so you never miss an update. And I will see you guys on the next one.